Monday. Looks like someone's got a case of the Monday.
I used to hate when people say that shit.
It's like Office
That was a
Space.
great movie.
It was a great
though.
movie for sure, but like, fuck, I hated it.
It's like
Case of
somebody's
the
got a
Mondays?
case of a Mondays.
Like on the days where I'm like, my Monday is really a fucking like an actual Monday. Like it's terrible. Like, oh, someone's got a case of the Mondays. Becky, if you don't shut your bitch ass up, it's these hands. I'll take the corporate L.
I get the slander that Mondays get and Sundays, possibly, but the real villain of the week is Tuesday. Tuesdays are pointless. Monday, start of your either whether it's Sunday or Monday, it's the start of your week. I start at Monday, so Monday's the start of your week. Tuesday, a day. Wednesday, hump day. Thursday, for me, my weekend starts. But for most people, I'm so close to the weekend. Friday is Friday. There's no explaining that, along with Saturday. And Sunday's the end cap. It's the rest. It's the day the Lord rested on the seventh day.
The Sabbath.
But Tuesday, what the fuck do you do on a Tuesday?
Wednesdays.
Not to make an argument, but I mean Tuesday. There happens to be this really great guy that streams every single Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's what makes Tuesdays great for me. At Kenobi Did Shinobi on Twitch.
I appreciate it.
Wednesdays have always been the bane of my existence. I think no matter what job I've had, even if like Wednesday isn't the middle of my week, it has always been like my least favorite day to go.
I'll take a Tuesday over a Wednesday.
Yeah, like it's
Most
just such.
Wednesdays.
You're in the middle. You're not like any further. You're not any closer to the weekend than you are from when you started. And it's just like, ugh.
Actually,
This fucking
that's
day.
impossible. You are closer than whenever you started. What the
I mean,
fuck?
you are for sure, but it definitely doesn't feel like it. Like,
Do I have to explain how time works?
Like on a Wednesday, I'm like, fuck. I still got a couple more days of this shit. Whereas it's just like
Yeah.
Tuesday's just like whatever. Like yesterday wasn't that bad.
Yeah, imagine
Like,
having a
today's
bad
just another
Monday,
day.
waking up, and you're like, damn, I got 3 more days of this shit. Fuck the 2. I have 3 more days of this shit.
Well, most other people have 4 more days. So
Well, there you go.
after
4
Monday.
is still greater than 3. If I had 4 dicks I had to jack off, I would much rather take the 3. What do you mean? It's a bad argument. You're full of them. I hate Mondays. I'm having a bad Monday.
What's up, guys? We are SpaceBar Podcast, your favorite podcast. I'm dead, bro.
Damn, do the intro.
I'm
Fuck.
sorry. You want to do it? You got it.
I always do it. Literally always.
We're SpaceBar Podcast, your favorite podcast. We appreciate you for staying along with us on this journey. You know, it's been 10 full episodes. Yeah. Episode
We're on
11.
11.
We're here.
We're on the Drew Bledsoe episode.
I feel like there's way better number 11s than Drew Bledsoe.
Go ahead, name one.
Carson Wentz was a better quarterback
Carson
than Drew
Wentz
Bledsoe.
can suck a whole dick. Drew Bledsoe's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz.
I'd definitely take Drew Bledsoe over Carson Wentz. Just because Carson Wentz is, they're both ass, but Carson Wentz is like further down along that list, 100%.
He ass.
I will say, as an Eagles fan, the Drew Bledsoe era of the Cowboys is probably my favorite. It was the funniest to watch for sure.
And the Carson Wentz era of the Eagles is probably my favorite.
Quincy
Obviously,
Carter.
Yeah,
that
mine too. He
funniest
won
to
a Super
watch.
Bowl.
Not under him. Nick Foles carried that. So Nick Foles didn't carry you through the playoffs. You're going to sit here and say that Carson Wentz would have went off in the playoffs. Stop it right now.
You're gonna sit here and say Carson Wentz wouldn't have won the league MVP had he not torn his ace
Carson
or
Wentz
his
is a
shit the
terrible. What
last
has
2
Carson
weeks.
Wentz done since sitting through
I'm not
the playoffs?
saying that he's a good quarterback, but I'm saying that season he had a phenomenal season, and to say
would've
that
choked
that
every-
Nick Foles
just like he choked every other year, he would have choked it in the playoffs.
moving on.
Carson Wentz is a terrible quarterback. Carson Wentz, if you're watching
win.
this by chance, I mean it.
He went like 17-2 before he got injured. So
Still never won a Super Bowl.
back to what we were talking about before. Speaking of athletes that aren't garbage, Michael Phelps. We were discussing how it's crazy that he is still the most decorated U.S. Olympian with like 23, 24 medals over the last 4 years. Also, did you know that he has the world's longest putt that was ever televised by like a lot?
I think I sent you that. I think I sent that video.
Was it the
I'm almost
world's
positive.
longest?
I don't know. I mean, I've
It
seen
It was.
it.
It
No,
was
it's the longest televised putt.
Yeah, it's the longest one that was ever captured on television, right? That's what's the word? Verifiable, provable, whatever it is,
guess.
That
whatever.
was a
the-
crazy sick putt, don't get me wrong, but I could have swore I've seen a putt that was longer.
159 feet. You've seen a
I feel like
putt
I've seen
longer than
Steph
159
Curry do a really long putt before, or maybe it was Steph. I can't remember.
I think you're misremembering the video.
I'm thinking
like,
of a
watching
video
the
that was
ball roll.
No, I watched the video.
Is
back
like
then.
4 solid
Yeah,
seconds.
it was a video of a guy. He was like he was trying to take
Not
his
a
putt.
guy. It's
Fuck you.
Michael Phelps.
No, it was. I'm not talking. Anyways, as I was saying, it's a video of a guy who was trying to take his putt, and an older gentleman who had been playing golf forever. It's like a PGA tour or something like that. Had been golfing forever, and he was like chirping to him, and he's like, "Oh, can you do this better?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can." And he
know what you're
literally
talking
steps
about.
up, takes an eye, and fucking hits it, and it goes crazy. That was a long putt
That
too.
was so I don't know the exact name of the person, but I know the video you're talking about. It was the guy that took the putt and made it. He had designed the green.
Oh,
So they were like talking about, I don't know how to do this, and he was like, "Let me fucking show
damn.
you." He fucking
Yeah,
does
he,
it.
he
yeah.
does. Yeah, that's a perfect hold my beer moment for sure.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, Michael Phelps. Kyle was saying something about he's got a big ass heart.
No, I actually I looked it up. So fact checked myself. So he is genetically advanced in multiple ways, but he didn't have an oversized heart. From what I could find on the internet, I don't know where I got that. I guess I pulled it out of there. But the multiple things that he has that I was able to find is he's 6'4", just to put that out there. He's 6'4". He's got the wingspan of someone who's 6'8". He's 6'4", and his arms from tip to tip are longer than he is tall. Right at 6'4", he's got the wingspan of someone who's 6'8". He's got the lower half, so waist down torso, of someone who's 5'7". He's got the legs of a 5'7" person and the torso and wingspan of a 6'8" person.
Did you know that like swimming that is because he's a swimmer? Like swimmers will get longer limbs and shit depending on like.
I didn't know
That kind of
that.
makes sense.
It does make sense.
And then
That's
he's
crazy,
double,
though.
and then he's double jointed in both shoulders.
Let's say.
And then he also has a genetic disease. Not disease. He's got a genetic.
Disorder.
He's got a genetic, not syndrome either. He's got a genetic feature that produces less lactic acid than normal human beings. So like whenever you're working out, like say you're doing a bunch of squats and like at the end of your set, your muscles start to burn, right? That's your muscles producing lactic acid. What's happening is the muscle fibers in your muscle, whatever it be, your legs in this scenario, are having micro tears in them, right? And in order to, as a response to that, your body then releases lactic acid, which then gives you that soreness, cramping, burning sensation in the muscles. And Michael Phelps produces considerably less of that than normal people. So even if you match someone with his athletic ability, he would be able to go longer while hurting less.
Yeah, he would.
Even if he had a genetic clone that.
So you're
didn't
saying
have the
he was a
lactic
born
acid.
winner? That's what you're saying.
Facts.
Is he a winner, guys?
23
Is he a winner?
golds.
Because I heard he smokes reefer. And honestly, if you smoke reefer, I think he has a few tattoos. The Lord's not with you. And the Lord's not with that, man. Honestly.
I was dang tattooed.
I love
Those
those.
tattooed people. I can't get with it. Tattoos.
Mm-mm.
Couldn't be me, bro.
I mean,
we're
praise
doing
the
a bit
Lord.
here.
Praise the Lord. But,
But I can't, like, Drew is the one doing the bit, and I keep staring at his fucking camera, and it just looks like there's a giant fucking Secret Labs cock behind him
yeah.
because of this tortilla
It's
blanket.
Nathan's tortilla blanket. The cool thing about the tortilla blanket is it's a circle. So it's like a literal tortilla.
Have you
Not
wrapped
a
anything up
sponsor.
in a tortilla yet?
No. I've
Okay.
used it a few times. Actually, I'm afraid to use it because of who the previous owner was.
I've watched it, sir.
I know still. I just know.
Y'all ever watch that documentary on the Olympics about how, like, all the crazy, just, like, cheating goes on?
No.
Mm-mm.
I'm not
Great,
surprised.
I forget what the name of it is. But,
By
like,
Tanya?
There was like a complete department, I want to say, of the Russian government that was dedicated to figuring
During the
out
USSR?
ways to cheat
Yeah.
without getting caught. It was like a fully funded department.
That doesn't surprise me,
I
bro.
forget.
Yeah, doping in sports in general is like wild because like every sport has it, and every sport has people that are like dedicated to finding like the loopholes, like how NFL like HGH was okay for a while, and then they were like, "Oh my God, look at Peyton's head! We got to stop this."
The God, who's the cyclist? Livestrong.
Lance
The Lance Armstrong thing was the craziest thing I've ever heard,
Yeah.
because I had never heard of that. I'm sure most people had never heard of that before it happened. I don't know how well versed you are on what he was discovered to be doing before they took away all of his Tour de France wins, but he would, first of all, the Tour de France, if you don't know, is a multi-day challenge, right? It's not just like, oh, like a marathon you run for like 6 hours. It's like days and days.
The biggest
and
biking
days.
competition that no one's
Like
ever heard of.
you like stop and sleep and then get back up and then ride some more, right? So you have to understand that, because this is where it comes into play. So in between his stretches, right, was what they call when he's riding, he would stop and he would remove his own blood and put fresh blood in so that it could better carry the oxygen from his lungs through his heart
that illegal?
to power his muscles.
That just
I
seems
guess
like a smart
it's a
move,
good-
honestly.
I
He did an oil
it's totally
change.
Smart. I get it.
He did
That's
an oil
definitely doping,
change.
but like you can't take away his wings in the sense
Low-key.
of just have you heard of the Tour de France since then? Right? Like that was like the
Yeah.
peak popularity
No,
for the
not
Tour de
shit.
France. Like Lance Armstrong winning back to back to back was like everybody was like, oh fuck yeah, the Tour de France, Lance Armstrong, live strong.
I think
that
that's
1.2% of my childhood
Sorry,
is those yellow bracelets.
Yeah, I was about to say I've stole like 3 of them before,
100%.
but I think him doing that is cool enough to where they should just let it go. It's like, bro, you're
100%.
swapping out your blood in the middle of the fucking race.
Right, like I feel like that's more of a gray area than like it's weird to consider that doping. Like it'd be different if he was like adding blood that had like
Steroids in it.
steroids
Super
or something in it. But
It
yeah,
was like-
he's just like, and where's he getting? Is it his blood? Was he
It's-
just
from
like?
from what I've heard in the situation, what he would do is he would, like, before the races, like for a period of time, he would pull his own blood and store it, right, and then switch it out. My thing is like, that's crazy. Who knew your blood got tired, right?
Right.
Your blood out here putting in laps. Your blood gets tired. Your blood becomes less efficient.
I mean, I guess it makes sense though. Like, it's like less oxygen.
It doesn't make sense to me.
If we ever do a Halloween episode, Kyle, you need to be Rick Sanchez.
100%.
Uh,
100%.
That's all I gotta say.
Morty. Morty.
Cheese, Rick.
Well, I'll dress up. You're Rick Sanchez. I can be Morty if you want to. Oh, jeez.
Y'all can all be different universe
Different
Mortys.
Mortys.
Business Morty.
I'm eye patch
Just
Morty.
watched the 5th season of that show. Just because they
No
finally put it on,
spoilers.
like,
I'm only 3
HBO
episodes
Max.
in. Yeah, it just dropped.
It's good. Like
It's
I don't
much
hate
better
it.
than the 4th.
Yeah, like it's not a spoiler, but like the ending, they're taking a long time with like that storyline that they're doing.
Yeah.
But overall, like I would say, just the general cringe of the majority audience of that show has like put me off of watching it for so long. Like
Yeah.
I'd say the first season, maybe first 2 seasons, like I actively kept up with it every week when it came out, and then people started jumping on McDonald's counters and putting Pickle Rick everywhere, and I'm just like, I can't fucking do this show anymore. Like it's not. It's not nothing about the content of the show. The show is perfectly fine. It was more of like, I don't want to be associated with these people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
when those
facts.
first 2 episodes or two seasons dropped, I enjoyed that part of my life because like I would just literally sit at home, smoke, and just watch TV. Literally no responsibility. But I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons, and I know I turned some people on to it at Black
I'm
Hole.
pretty sure you turned me on.
Yeah, at Black Hole. So like once the 3rd season was ramping up and like about to come out, that's when I was just like, a lot of these people that are like coming into Black Hole and going wubba lubba dub dub, I'm just like, I don't associate with you at all.
I will say I liked like once it started getting too cringy for me. I ended up finding Harmon Quest, which I know Drew knows what it is. If you don't know what Harmon Quest is, it's essentially a live action / animated D&D thing hosted by Dan Harmon. It's Dan Harmon, Spencer Crittenden, one of Dan Harmon's like ex-girlfriends, and then another guy that I can't remember. But every week they bring on a new celebrity guest that comes in and plays the character. And they've had like some pretty big names on there. Like I can't think of any specifically right now, aside from they had the dude that voices SpongeBob on there. They've had Patton Oswalt on there. Kumail Nanjiani has been on there. But essentially, like, there is a central storyline, and it's got about 3 or 4 seasons right now. But it's cool. They do it in front of a live audience where they actually like play D&D, and then in between certain shots of the live audience, they'll throw in full animated episodes together of what they're doing. So you get to, yeah, like I love D&D. There are a lot of like D&D podcasts out there, but I really only listen to like one at this point, and that would be Dungeons and Daddies. Not a sponsor. It's just a really funny podcast. That's
Solid
about,
name for sure.
For sure.
But like the Harmon Quest has been a really cool show that like scratches my D&D itch when I'm tired of listening to like certain podcasts and shit like that.
You need to watch Legends of Vox Machina.
Yeah, that's a
on
really good
Amazon.
show.
I'll have to check it out. I did
It's only like
recently
6
watch.
episodes in, I think.
So what Vox? I just want to expand on that real quick. Vox Machina, Critical Role, right? Yeah. So it's like their first campaign. It's like that group's first campaign, and it's pretty good so far. I don't listen to Critical Role or watch Critical Role, but the characters that they have are like interesting and funny enough, and then it's the same animation that they do for Invincible, so it's a pretty solid show. It's very raunchy.
Yeah, I did recently
very
watch.
raunchy
I'm
for
trying
sure.
to find it in my like history, but I watched an episode of like a D&D thing on YouTube that like Jack Black was in. Like I literally only clicked on it because I was like, "What? Jack Black is playing D&D? Got to check this out." And it has like Jack Black, the curly-headed kid from Stranger Things.
I think I saw a clip of that
And it has the
on TikTok.
the chick from Fast and the Furious, Dom's chick. Yeah. And
Peace,
that
right?
it's IGN. Yeah, it's IGN and D&D present Lost Odyssey. And I think they have like a full, because like it was like a 2.5 hour episode, and like it seemed like there was already kind of like an established like story arc going on. So I think they might do like seasons and shit like that. And then I know Sofia Vergara's husband, I can't remember his name right now. I literally only remember he's so hot.
I know who it is. Deathstroke.
Slade. Yeah.
That guy was handsome.
He's
as fuck.
He's Joe Manganiello. He's also in Magic Mike and shit.
He's in How I Met Your Mother. He's the lawyer, the bro lawyer.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's
Hilarious.
like he's Dungeons and Dragons like official like brand ambassador. And he's had
That's
some
a cool
different
title.
Facts.
right? Like he bought this house that has a basement. I guess that's what a wine cellar is. He bought this house that has a wine cellar, kind of like in the middle of the kitchen. And like originally, like he talks about how he convinced Sophia to let him turn that into his D&D studio. So like you go down there and there's like a big ass table with a bunch of chairs, some like big ass dragon skull on the wall. It's like a very medieval type vibe. But he also has a couple things on YouTube, I think, where they do some campaigns. I think he did one with like the Big Show from WWE or AEW. That was pretty interesting. But he talks about how he's gotten a lot of his like other celebrity friends back into it. So like it's cool to see that type of shit. But again, I just really like D&D.
I want a secret room so bad. Not to get off the D&D train, but like if and when we build the bar dominium, I'm demanding one. 100%. Like the under kitchen island stairs is sick.
Yeah, I also think that a secret room would be very cool. I feel like most people, if they have the capability of doing it, especially if they're like an archway in their house or something, really fits that. I think they should always take advantage of that because it's cool and everybody should have one if they can.
Cool.
I agree.
That's honestly, it's peak house owner.
It is.
Having a secret room. Like if you don't, You're not
Especially
doing
like, I mean, in a scenario where you're just married to like a person who's just really good at building things already. You don't even have to contract out the work
Yeah.
to have it installed into your
And
And
house.
let's just
There's
say
different
in this
materials.
scenario, let's just say in this scenario, they've already built several things within the house, you know? So
What do you
Wild.
mean, like a bookshelf?
maybe like a bookshelf or like a desk for two
desk, perhaps?
people.
Yeah.
Maybe like an
Some
end table.
tables,
Yeah.
a dog gate.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff.
Dining room table.
Mhm. But only
Man.
if you're married to somebody like that.
Yeah.
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 I
Few and
have
far
watched.
between, I'm sure.
I have watched videos on like creating secret rooms because I don't know, whatever. And honestly, it really doesn't look that hard to like. It's just
It's a
door.
It's like a gate, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like a fence gate, right? It's just got
Yeah.
that latch. You just have to tie a string. I don't know if you've seen your fence gate, but there's always a little hole there, right? You just tie a string around it and loop that string into an interesting way.
Yeah. I think
And then you just
if we stay
pull
in
the
this
string.
house for like the next 5 to 10 years, 10 years being the object here, but like I'm gonna make this room a secret room. It'd be
100%.
perfect.
You could put a
a shelf,
take the
yeah.
doors down, build a
Yeah,
bookshelf.
100%.
Well, especially considering like how many rooms you already have upstairs, like that wouldn't be out of place. That would just look like a big ass wall with a
Yeah,
bookshelf on it.
100%. Agreed.
Like, I want a house so bad.
I mean,
It's just cheaper than having to pay a lease.
True.
Oh yeah, you want to hear some crazy numbers, right? So, if you pay a rent of $1,500 a month for 5 years, just quick maths, don't think about it. How much you think you pay?
at least 60,000, 75.
Yeah, come on, quick. Don't think about it.
75,000.
$87,500.
$90,000.
I was the closest.
You said
90
years?
grand.
Oh, 5 years. I'm thinking
It's bad at math.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
that's.
I'm so glad I don't rent.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. That's so much money.
Yeah.
Like, because if you have a house, you don't get all back because you pay an interest, but you get a percentage of that back when you sell, right? Depending on market conditions,
right now.
right? That's
well,
like,
Yeah, right now would
we've talked about
definitely be the
it
optimal
before,
time.
but my parents they bought the house that they're living in like maybe 2 years before I was born, and they paid $85,000 for the house that they have now. Like the estimated value of that house now is like 300 grand.
okay,
It's
boomer. We get it.
That's all, my dad.
Well, that's what I'm
Houses were
saying, it's
cheap
like-
back then. I know.
Yeah,
I get it.
exactly.
I
It's
know.
like that's so crazy. I've been trying to get them to sell that house for a minute. I'm like, why do y'all don't need a house that fucking big?
Yeah, the Vegas
What
house
else?
market is booming pretty well as well. Like my dad bought a pretty nice house like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's gone up like it's almost 200 grand up on what he paid for it. So
I want to say the biggest jump in the whole country right now is Austin.
Yeah.
If you owned a house in Austin,
that does not
you're a
surprise me.
millionaire.
It's
You're a
lot-
millionaire,
Elon and
Fucking
Joe.
California 2.0.
Obviously, it's not verified, but I just saw a TikTok of like a guy that was like, when POV your your clients, he was a real estate agent, your clients get declined on their $100,000 over asking price offer in West Austin and you find out that the people who got the house bid $400,000 over asking
my
price.
God.
They didn't even say what the asking price is.
But you know the
Like,
asking price was probably stupid as well. Like that's wild, bro. That's like
wild.
There's a guy,
Obviously unverified, but I mean I don't know why you would lie
so
about it.
up here, right? In Plano, I think it's in Plano or Louisville, whatever. It's the Legacy West. So it's like a whole area that's super nice. It's a bunch of shops, a bunch of like nice restaurants, like a bunch of like Peloton has a store there. Louis just put a store there. Louis Vuitton, Dior, I think has a store there. Chanel has a store there, and then there's like a bunch of like nice restaurants. There's a French place called Toulouse that's boy so good. They have
That's Italian.
like a I know, but it's that good. It makes me switch up nationality.
What's the French one?
Yeah,
Is a
basically,
baguette.
yeah. They have like a food hall there. Like it's really nice.
yeah,
Like it's on both sides of the highway, but right before that it was all farmland. And rumor has it that guy sold a bit of his land for over $1 billion, and he's still $1 billion with a B. and it wasn't like
That's
a crazy amount of land. Like it was a few acres, maybe like 10. But it's just the area of where they decided to build is so high demand. And then he still has like 2 or 3 acres just there where his cows are that we pass every time we go there. And I couldn't even imagine like what he's going to sell that for, or if he's ever going to sell it. I'm sure he will eventually. But like,
he probably can sell it and then just not have to have livestock anymore, because I feel like having livestock is more of a
yeah, but you know, like those
than,
boomer Gen Xers are, you know, it's about the lifestyle for a lot of them. Like,
I wouldn't mind having
you know.
livestock.
Well, like, I mean,
Sure,
that
definitely.
definitely has to be why that, in Kyle's example, like that, the lifestyle definitely has to be the reason that somebody would have put like 400 grand over asking.
Yeah,
price. Like, I
100%.
can't imagine liking anything enough to be like, I'll pay you $400,000 more than you were
It depends,
asking.
I
Well,
guess.
you know what
Like,
it
on what the
is? It's
house
people
is.
coming from California, right? So,
Yeah, that's some change to what they bought their house
Yeah.
for
Oh, for
fucking
sure.
250 grand. And they sold it for 1.5 million dollars, and now they're moving.
I
It's crazy.
don't know. Like, I also like would never like when I hear about a house costing that much. I also just automatically assume that it's big as fuck, and like I don't want a
I
big
bet it's
house.
not.
Especially
Well,
growing
as-
up in
as
Texas,
fu-
if somebody has like a
as you
$1.2
think it
million house, you're like, oh, that motherfucker's got at least 6,
See,
7.
but
homes.
It's
like
not
most-
like that
depends
in
on the
Austin
area.
anymore.
But
though.
like in Dallas,
Austin is different
in
now.
Dallas on Lovers Lane, right? You have there are multiple TikToks about it. There are these 3,500, 4,000 square foot nice, brand new, modern homes, and literally right next door is a shack, a 2-bedroom shack that's been there for 70 years. And
Yeah, I
those
saw-
people will never move. They have paid their house off. They don't have enough money to rebrand or redevelop a whole new fucking house.
Right.
But like that shit's great. I can't even imagine how much that land would sell for. Sorry, Nathan.
I don't know what city. No, you're good. I don't know what city or state it was in, but I recently saw a TikTok of like somebody filming a neighborhood that's like in the process of being gentrified, and like they're panning over, and you see all these nice ass houses and a sidewalk, and then like the sidewalk ends, and their next door neighbor's house is just like in shambles.
Probably Oak Cliff.
Which is like that's wild. No, I mean maybe I don't know if it was in Texas or not, but I just thought it was like because even the comments were like that's crazy that like they even stop the sidewalks there. And it's just like, yeah, that is ridiculous. That's at some point in time, like the developers were like, and this is where
Yeah.
this privilege is, or whatever you want to call it.
It's probably, I mean, all that land had probably is super undeveloped, and they had just like developed it, and then it was left for a long time, maybe. And then a new
no, it was like a
developer-
full ass.
well, no, like a new developer would come in and like develop
yeah.
the rest of the land,
Right.
which is always a bitch, right? Like,
There's a housing development called I can't remember the name of it, but it's literally right by like the dump in like Fort Worth. That like it smells so bad, but the houses over there are still like crazy expensive.
that's how.
It's like that's
There's a
crazy.
place
that
in
you can
Arlington.
charge that
Viridian.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Viridian.
yeah,
That's in
Viridian.
Arlington.
It's just like yeah,
That's not
yeah.
bad.
It's like
yeah.
oh, is it? Okay, but yeah, it's
Whose
crazy.
hair is that? That was an Nathan's.
That's Nathan's. This is what it's like to have a girlfriend with
Do you
butt
get
length
Nathan-
hair.
do you get Nathan's hair in your butt?
And Nathan, because we use the same washer and dryer, I get
Rip.
both of their hairs all over the place every fucking goddamn day. I'm pulling something out
Unfortunate.
somewhere. I love you, babe.
I need a haircut.
You know, brand new developments obviously are cool and all, but like it's such a bitch. Like, especially if like they're developing near already developed areas. Like, whenever we moved in this neighborhood, I think there was like 30 or 40, maybe 50 homes. Like, it's a 100 home development, and like a bit of several of the homes hadn't been developed yet, but they had already developed the land. Like, they had already plowed all the grass up and done all that shit. But like back behind our neighborhood, it was all like dense trees. And about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, it's a year and a half because it was over summer, they had tore all of it down. And you always see a crazy uptick in like pests. Like, I was getting fucking wolf spiders the size of the rim of this glass in my garage,
would've
bro.
moved.
I literally went overboard. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? So I saw one.
Are we hitting the point in the podcast where we're repeating stories? Because I think you've told this story before.
I don't recognize this.
All right, I'll let you
The
finish.
weight in the car.
the weight in the
So,
car. And you
yeah,
burnt
so
it.
I was in my garage, whatever. I saw it. I walked inside and I was like freaking out. And I was looking for something to kill the spider with. And I couldn't find anything. All I could find was like a cardboard tube. And I was like, that's not going to do the job. It's going to look at me and bite me. So I walked back out and I grabbed a 5-pound weight and I just dropped it. And I killed it. Yeah. And then I set it on fire with my torch for my smoker. And then I brushed it out into the driveway, and I was trying to brush it out into the street, and it got caught up in my car. So I had to start my car, and like I just rolled over it again just to fucking figure it out. And then I brushed it off the tires and sucked it out.
Though they are
into a drain.
terrifying because I don't like bigger spiders. You shouldn't kill wolf spiders. They get rid of pests for you.
I know, but it was so
They're
big,
little
bro.
hunters.
It freaks me out. Oh my god!
I mean,
it freaked me out.
they might bite you.
Just the size, though. I was like, no, it's
Also,
gonna
they're
kill me.
ugly. They're like brown and black.
I realized recently I just don't fuck with insects. Like yesterday, I was just kind of reorganizing the office a little bit, cleaning up my cubbies, and as I was doing so, I stuck my hand in the back to like because it just looked like there was some shit back there. So like I'm stick my hand back there to scoop it forward, and I grab this thing, I pick it up, I look at it, and it's like this dead as fuck like grasshopper, like it's turned brown, or a cricket it turned brown, but I'm holding it in my hand. I'm like and I like threw it back in the cubby. It was like it wasn't moving, it was for sure dead, but it just like creeped me the fuck out.
Yeah,
It's still there to this day.
on God.
No, I used like a tissue and like threw it away.
Do you guys have like any family members that like I guess like are like from the country or whatever?
Yes,
If that makes it.
I've got a really funny
I mean,
story
my-
to tell you after what you're gonna say.
family has lived on range?
Okay, so yeah, have you ever noticed? Maybe it's not even just them; it's just people who like spend a lot of time outside. Like it bothers me. I can tell when a fly is flying around me, and I can also tell when it lands on me. And like there are some people within my family who are like country, and they just won't be bothered by their little fucking legs walking all over their arm. And I'm like, I don't know how you're not jumping out of your skin because that shit's fucking gross. Like
It's like
as
that.
soon as-
I just watched the Will Smith Nat Geo thing on Disney Plus, and he was in like South Africa watching these gazelles try to cross the river, and like the people that he was with, the flies were just landing on their face, and they were just standing there, and he was like,
yeah.
"So this is what it's like to live here, huh? Because I could never." And he's like, "The fuck off of me."
That's how I'm just like, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I can't stand that shit. Like, even I hate it when they do like the little fly by your ear thing.
Yes.
Which is like
Fucking slap the shit out of the side of your head.
Fuck away. From,
Yep.
Yeah. Big
On a
ass
cool
horse
story,
flies.
not related to bugs, but kind of related to this general topic.
Mhm.
So my dad, who was adopted by missionaries, he was born
Underrated
in Korea,
position.
but he was adopted by missionaries. So when he turned 1, they moved to Kenya, Africa, to spread the word of God. And long story short, he tells me cool stories. He used to get Hot Wheels and trade them to people who grew up in Kenya for chameleons.
No.
interesting. How old's your
That
dad?
is
It's a
kinda
good
cool.
trade. Honestly.
My dad
That's
in
a-
the 60s, 61.
Okay, because my grandfather's from Kenya,
Yeah, we have like a
right?
Paths crossing.
brothers.
Wait, what?
That's pretty cool, though.
That's
I feel like
pretty
that's
cool,
a super fair trade. I would currently trade a Hot Wheel for a chameleon.
100%.
Well, I feel like Americans, we have a lot of Hot Wheels, and Kenyans have a lot of chameleons.
Not a lot of chameleons.
I only
That might
have
be an even
one Hot
trade.
Wheel in my current possession.
So the way the barter system works,
What's the Hot Wheel to chameleon?
I think it's a 1-for-1.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like
gotta
it's
be.
definitely one.
I didn't
I
ask.
don't know,
I wasn't getting in depth on
Well,
exchange
I
rates.
feel like it depends on the size
what
of
I
the
was thinking of.
chameleon.
Yeah,
Like,
it depends on the size of
baby
the chameleon.
chameleons, it's 5 minimum, bro. Like, but like a
Well, you gotta get a baby so you
adolescence-
can train it.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
an
Is it-
adolescent
is it a
chameleon,
special
I'm
You
talking
can't
edition
about
make it
Hot
an
Wheel?
adult chameleon,
can,
right?
100%.
That thing is gonna be doing his own thing.
Yeah, it's already got its habits formed.
It's gonna form new habits or he's gonna die. That's how it works.
It only understands
You gotta eat
Kenyan,
this food, you're dead.
Oh,
whatever the national language of Kenya is. A lot of clicks and clucks. I can say that because I'm black.
okay, Joe Rogan.
Oh, shot the Joe Rogan
I
comment.
walked into Kenya and it was just like nothing but African Americans. It was dark. Do you guys? I haven't really been following that whole situation. Have you guys?
I haven't seen
with Joe
any of it.
Rogan?
I've been trying to find the videos because apparently someone had said there's like a 5-minute clip of him just blatantly saying the N-word and like racist shit. I've been looking for it.
It's a clip of it's been hard to find.
It doesn't surprise me.
I've only been able to find like
it doesn't surprise me.
I watched the beginning of it. From what I could tell, I mean, I didn't want to watch the whole 5-minute video because like I'm not trying to watch a video
70 times
saying the N-word. But like I watched the first like 4 clips, and every clip in which he said it, it was like he was like, I would never call someone that. But you know, it's just a word, right? And then he the 2 clips I saw, he was referencing it to like the movie, like Django or whatever other movie it's in. He would be like, in that movie, in X movie, like in Django, they say, and then he would say the word,
but, well,
right?
Once you hit, and one of his, but like you can't say, I would never call somebody that. But like once you hit, like it's in your sentence. After that, like you can't continue on. Just leave it there. I understand that.
His argument is that he would never call someone that, but he continues on to say the word. He would still say the word.
No, absolutely not.
Well, in one of his apology videos, he goes on to say, he says some stupid shit like, it was taken out of context. It was like, first of all, Joe, there's no context where it's okay for you to say that word. But he says like in the context that he was saying it in was either like quoting somebody that said it, like, and he was like, I thought it was okay that I said it because somebody, like, if I was saying that somebody else said it. And there's even one of the videos where he's talking about the Planet of the Apes thing, where he asks this driver if it's a safe neighborhood to go, they're going to go see this movie, and he gets dropped off in Africa in Planet of the Apes or whatever. When he says the N-word, you can see Joey Diaz's camera where he sees it, and like he's the only person that doesn't laugh, and then he goes like, moves himself slowly out of camera. But yeah, like he said it like the video's like a supercut of him saying it like 70 times. That's been like super difficult to follow or find, but yeah, that's his excuse so far has just been like, I mean, it wasn't my words, I was quoting somebody else's context, and it's just like, you know better. Like,
I mean, it's 100% in my book, don't do it, but it's just so weird to me how we pick and choose the scenarios, right? Like, it should be an all or nothing, and for me it's a nothing, right? But like, you watch movies and the directors cast white people to say it, right? And then like, I mean, if Joe Rogan wasn't calling someone that, right, and you know, he was just saying it, I don't see how it's different than a movie star accepting that that's in his script,
because it's in his script. Like, he's getting paid millions of dollars, which I guess whatever, but he's getting paid to read a script, right? He's not like, those aren't his words necessarily, and he's not quoting, but he's not, I mean, this guy,
it's all about character building.
No one boycotts the movie.
Nobody's trying to cancel. Well, nobody's trying to cancel the same director, Quentin Tarantino. He has the N-word at least once in every movie he makes. And he writes his own movie.
N-word, and you're going to see some feet.
Yeah.
See, my thing is, it definitely should be a no. It's just weird that there's not like a flat bar, right?
Well, I think it's just because, like, in the instance of an actor saying it, it's like an artistic expression.
It's like an intention thing, though, in my opinion.
I'm saying it's all about character building. Like, I can't think of the name of the movie, but the movie with Kylo Ren,
Black
Klansman, I think. Yeah, like that. When he says it, like, he's not a bad guy in the movie, but he has to say it to like convince the other racists that, like, okay, that this guy is like a piece of shit. Like,
me and Clarissa were kind of not talking about this specifically, but we were just talking about like the N-word in media, and she says it makes her feel uncomfortable even like when movies do it. And I like try to explain to her kind of what Nathan is saying is like, sometimes it is for character development to show you who the villain is, and like, you have your own, you know, if you're a nice person, your own moral compass will point to you being like, oh, he said the N-word, that's a bad guy. Or it's like a period piece, and, you know,
Like
It's a pretty
I can
frequent
think of
word.
A bad example in the media would be like, I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but they have the episode Hero or Hate Crime, where Danny DeVito's character screams out another word that I'm not going to say at Mac to save his life, and he was like, I was just trying to use the harshest word to cut through like the world to get his specific attention. And they're at like an arbitration process, and like the arbiter is black, and so they're like, okay, Frank, like what word would you use to cut through to get the arbiter's attention? And everybody is just like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then Charlie is like, N-word? Like that wasn't necessary, but like at the same time, It's Always Sunny, the characters are like the worst of the worst. Like they are awful human beings. Like that is an instance where I was just like, okay, that joke, you didn't need to use that joke there. Like you could have continued, that scene still could have been as funny without him saying it. But like in that instance, I guess they were trying to be like, well, Charlie is literally an ignorant, illiterate dude that like doesn't pick up on subtle nuances and didn't pick up on the rest of the group, not like their unwillingness to say the word. So he says it. I was like, you didn't need to do that. I don't think they should be canceled or whatever. But again, that's probably not my place to say whether or not someone should be canceled for that word.
I mean, cancellation altogether is such a
it's not really even a real thing.
Well, it's not. But at the same time, some people should be held responsible whenever it's recent. But if you're going back 13 years ago, get somebody's tweet, it's just like 13 years ago.
That's a long time.
Like, so one of the examples to that is so after the N-word controversy came out about Joe Rogan, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, who had previously been like, I stand with you, brother, was just like, actually, just kidding, didn't know about your N-word use prior to my last tweet. I don't condone that or whatever.
If you're not good enough for The Rock, you're not good enough for me, because that's the people's man, bro. It's the people's choice.
But then people went back and they were kind of going at The Rock for previous like WWF like transphobic comments and shit like that.
The character
like, well, first of all, I was like, first of all, The Rock is a character. Second of all, like it's the 2000s. That was, as much as like I don't like the argument, like it was definitely a different time.
Yeah, bra and panties.
Saying stuff like that was more widely accepted.
Yeah, 100%. Like the media like, so it's just ever since like the big social media boom of the past like 5 years, right? Like everything has changed completely in regards to like just language or talking culture. Like so many things that were acceptable 15 years ago are not. But back to like the people digging into like other people's tweets, like Kevin Hart, I feel like is the perfect example for that, where he had tweeted some bigot things about like gays and you know, he used a couple of gay slurs, but that was like forever ago, right? And he had apologized. He had come out. He's apologized multiple times for it, and he was up to host like the Emmys or the Grammys or something, and it had recirculated again. Yeah, the Oscars, and it had recirculated again. And they were like, well, Kevin, we're going to need you to apologize. And he's like, no, fuck that, bro. It's been like 12 years. I've apologized 45 times. This is where I'm drawing the line. I'm done doing this. Yeah. I'm done speaking about it. If you want to find somebody else, find somebody else.
I would say anybody who's 20 years old or older, you can't really get on the board of we should cancel this person because of what they said forever ago, because without a doubt, you have said something that if you were in the same light as them, you would be held with the same standard and you wouldn't pass, just like they're not passing.
Yeah, or like it's like for some of those people, it's like not even in the past. It's like if we were to join into their Discord or their PlayStation lobbies, a lot of those people, like not all of them.
I just did the same thing Drew did, but it's dog hair. I just pulled it out of my mouth. Nice.
Yeah, it's just it's just silly to me that to go back like years and years. I guess it's one thing if the person has never acknowledged the comment or never like admitted like, hey, I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong.
But I mean, cancel culture as a whole is a fucking joke. Like it's a temporary thing where everybody hops on board and they're like, no, fuck that person, and then like everybody gets on board, and then it's
mainly Twitter.
2 weeks
it depends
later,
on the person.
I mean,
there's some involved.
I feel
like I don't think Joe Rogan's going to get canceled.
No, 100%.
Oh, definitely
if
not.
he gets canceled, it's going to be temporary. Everybody that gets canceled recently, it's 2 weeks, and then they're like, okay, like Doja Cat.
Yeah, like Bill Cosby literally raped a bunch of people and like got out of prison he got out of prison, and people were like, "Nah, he didn't do it. He's good." It's like,
But that's like they tried to cancel Eminem for his early shit. Like, no shot.
Yeah.
Like, good luck.
yeah, it's like that was his whole thing, was just shock value.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
Which he was the best at.
Yeah, 100%.
The
Music
Yeah.
videos are crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I just
for sure.
watched
like that
Stan
whole
recently.
Michael Jackson like diss track is, and as like, I would definitely say like most
But Michael
of
Jackson-
his discography probably could not be made again today.
Michael Jackson was
I think
just
he would
the
make him
wrong
again.
person to fuck with though, because Michael Jackson literally
He
bought his
literally
company.
bought
Like
his
he
fucking
bought all
company.
the rights to him, bro. Like imagine that is the epitome of fuck you money. Someone dissed you and you don't even like attempt to write back, right? Because I mean, obviously that's not his style, but he's like, you know what? Nah, hold up real quick. Sony, you want to cut a deal? All right, bet. Here's $300 million. Give me all the rights.
It's like that joke that's usually like in Batman movies where it's just like Bruce Wayne's doing something and like or like in I think it's Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I bought the restaurant. I'm like, let's go. Like they wouldn't let us in. I bought the restaurant. It's like
It's
major
wild, bro.
fucking money. Have you guys?
Yeah, like the only person that I can think of that like was canceled, that like I guess kind of stayed canceled, is like Louis C.K. Like I really haven't heard much from him since it came out that he was
You mean
joking
the guy
off.
He
who
with
wasn't
Sounds
like
like
big
people?
enough though. You gotta be
Like
big
in the
enough.
stand-ups?
I don't know, Kyle. Maybe he was big enough.
Hey.
Well, R. Kelly, I feel like R.
Hey.
Kelly was another person that was like,
No, because
Completely
it wasn't
canceled.
until recent.
Still listen to
Oh, yeah,
Bump and
but, like-
Grind. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, but like, I mean, there's a couple of R.
Music's
Kellys.
a hard one though, right?
I'm never
R.
not gonna
Kelly's
listen
got
to I
some good
Believe I Can
songs.
Fly, right? Like that's
Like,
that's
that's
an
hard
American
shit to
anthem, bro.
cancel.
We played that song
Right, there's-
every day after 9/11 for like 18 months. I Believe I Can Fly, straight.
No. This is a parody by Jay Relly.
Yeah, you're like, hey man, who sings this song? You're like, I don't know. I just really like this song. That's another thing. It's like,
Remix to Ignition.
yeah,
Like we can cancel all. Like
Yeah.
let's cancel him, but let's just keep 3 songs: Remix to Ignition, Bump and Grind, and
Bump and Grind is a good song, yeah.
yeah. It's one of those things.
Mine's telling me
It's
no.
sometimes it's really hard to remove the artist from the art type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I will say,
Damn,
like
that's a
Joe
good
Rogan
song.
has done enough in the past few years to like make me not really enjoy him as a whole. Like before, like he used to have on funny comedian. I mean, he still does have like comedians and like actors on and shit like that. But now he has people that come on and like just promote straight pseudoscience. And like there's a clip of him like talking about like vaccines or whatever, and how he talks about how like people shouldn't be scared of him or whatever. And it's just such a stark contrast to like what he talks about now.
yeah.
And his
My
stance on
thing
things, where it's
is,
like,
that's always been Joe Rogan. It's just the shit he talked about has never been controversial. That dude has been spouting DMT for like
for
a
sure.
decade, bro.
For
so
sure.
you can't like, my thing about the people who hate him is like,
DMT is
you
different
can't
than
jump on
vaccines,
now
though.
because.
well, now it just
the
seems like
same
he's more-
shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like he just started
True.
getting people on to spout
no,
crazy
but it
shit.
seems
you
like
know?
now he has put himself in like an echo chamber where he doesn't have like, he may have people that have like
That's a good
some
word.
different views, but he doesn't like argue with them enough. He doesn't try to like put up different counterpoints.
I would
See, I feel like
disagree.
that's not
I would
true.
disagree with that. I feel like Joe Rogan will have people on that he does not agree with to get their point of view on his show just as much as he would have somebody that is within his echo chamber.
100%. Like, even you just talking about the pseudoscience coronavirus stuff. Oh, I probably can't say. You probably have to beep that for the YouTube.
That's fine.
He literally had the lead medical advisor for CNN, Supta Gonje. Supta Gonje.
Hold on, and a real quick thing. I have a funny story for this, but I cannot talk about it on air. So after this,
Make it now.
But literally, this is the guy.
Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah, this is literally everything reverse of what you're saying. This guy is exactly the opposite of everything.
Joe
you're saying.
Rogan
And Joe
seems
Rogan
like
had
a
on
pretty
talk-
funny guy, but like outside of UFC, I guess. Like him and just Dana White rubbed me the wrong way. And in regards to like all
Dana
of the
White just seemed
pay
like an
shit that's
asshole.
just
Dana
come
White's
out
a piece of
recently,
shit.
like with Francis Ngannou and his fight, like they brought that fighter on realistically. They brought him on to take out Francis Ngannou so he wouldn't be the number one fighter in the UFC. And he failed at doing that. And Francis had brought up points in fighters' pay and fighters' rights and shit. And they're suing him because of it. Like, you're not paying these people enough money, right? Like, they're putting their bodies and their fucking hearts on the line.
In their minds.
Yeah, 100%.
Like they still have like day jobs.
Like, yeah, because a lot of people, like, you're not paying them enough to live. Like, you have someone who's the quote unquote #1 fighter in the world, and you're paying him $500,000 for his fight, right?
Like it was different a couple years ago before they had that like Reebok sponsor where the fighters could go get their own sponsorships and get paid. But like now, like they can still get, I don't know like the specifics. I think they can still get some sponsors here and there, but largely in part, it's like if you're in UFC, it's
their biggest sponsors are probably
your
their
Reebok.
UFC sponsors. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty a common thing, though. You got to think about the Olympics, bro. Like, those are the best athletes in the world.
They're still rocking their own sponsors. Shaun White had come out and just said something about it. Like, Shaun White is riding his own brand. Like, their sponsors for like this,
but it's only the top of the top of the top.
No, like it depends on what it is. Right?
If it's the top of the top, it's just because that's the most like they have the most notoriety to get those.
But it depends on what depends on what it is. So like for like snowboarding, like their boots, bindings, and boards, those are all things that it's all their shit. And if they're sponsored by Burton Boards for their bindings and their board, like then Burton is paying them. Like it's not an Olympic sponsor. I would say for like the apparel for sure, but even then they're still wearing their branded apparel. Like the shit that they wear for like opening ceremony and the shit that you see them in on like a regular basis outside of like their actual like uniforms is USA sponsored, and that's USA, Ralph Lauren, and apparently it's Kim K and her brand. I forgot what it's called. Emily had just told me about it, but that's like
that bag.
All of their 100% snack the fuck out of that bag. But like the USA jackets that you see now, like they're regular red, blue, whatever, white, like that's Olympic USA Olympic
colors.
These colors don't run, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
I was trying to think if they were in like that for like opening ceremony, but like that's what they're wearing, like for that. But for the rest of their shit, no, it's all their sponsors and their brands. Like Shaun White was like super ecstatic to be, able to rep his own shit, and not only that he's repping like whatever sponsor, but he's his own sponsor. So that was pretty cool, but it's not the same.
Like I know NFL players, they get to choose who their sponsors are, depending on like who.
Same with NBA.
For like NFL, I feel like 5 or 6 brands.
Yeah, but like
it's prevalent, but they still get to choose.
I'm sure more people are doing this now, but I think it was LaMelo Ball. It was one of the Ball brothers, but he had kind of done something that nobody had done before, right? Like basketball players, when they would sign with a brand, they would sign like for a while. It was a good contract. And what he would do, he had signed multiple contracts, but they were shorter contracts. They were like week contracts. So for 1 week, he would wear Jordans, and then the next week he would wear Reeboks, and the next week he would wear Adidas. So like that was really cool to see for him to be able to finesse that fucking hard.
I'm sure that's like a lot of that is like his.
Yeah, he's got a big enough name to do it. Yeah, and also I'm sure he didn't want to fucking wear Ball brand shoes.
Sure, there have been, or at least Melo, the youngest one. He previously, I found them insufferable. Like I thought they were super annoying, but like I guess they're all in the league now, except for maybe the one that wasn't that.
One
good.
of them's in Euros.
The youngest one. He's pretty fun to watch. Like, and he does look like he's
an all-star.
Yeah, and he looks like he just a fun dude, like having fun playing his favorite sport with like all his idols. Like
he is killing it for sure.
For him. Like I think I disliked them because his dad was annoying.
Yeah, he is insufferable.
Sorry.
I'm gonna derail this conversation because I wanted to ask you guys on the podcast. So me and Clarissa was over the other night, and we made dinner or whatever, had a few drinks, and we're just laying in my bed talking. She talks about how she makes a sandwich, and I wanted to see if I'm in the minority or if she's in the minority. Specifically a deli style sandwich, so like bread, meat, cheese, whatever condiments you want. Yeah, well, I mean, there's like peanut butter and jelly. With the rule of the peanut butter jelly, this would come into play, but with mainly like a sandwich, not a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Do you put like the mustard and mayonnaise, whatever condiment that you put on your sandwich? Do you put it on both pieces of bread or one piece of bread?
Both.
Put it on neither.
Like, well, So like
said neither or
I would
either?
do mayonnaise.
I put it in between my meat. I don't like my bread getting soggy.
That's fair.
That is fair.
Like I do if I put mayonnaise on it, which isn't often. It's like mayonnaise on one piece, mustard on the other piece.
So I'll switch it up and do one and one, but it's always
But like I don't.
It's always on both.
stuff.
Why?
Because I don't want, if I'm gonna put a condiment on one side, I don't want the other side to be dry. Like if I'm gonna make it not a dry sandwich, you know. Plus, I just feel like it's stacking it is just, I don't know, it's just weird.
I mean, when you eat a
Just-
burger, does it have sauce on both sides?
Some burgers do.
From some places, yeah.
So are you saying you put
But
both
I'm
of
not
your
making the
sauces
burger.
on one?
Yeah,
like you put
my mayonnaise and
mustard,
mustard.
and then you put mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not in charge of what goes on my burger. Like I'm not. I'm not back there saucing both sides of the bread.
Okay. Have you been to a barbecue before?
I'm also never mixing mustard and mayonnaise.
Why not?
What's your
It's going
mayonnaise?
to the same place.
Could go together, yeah, for sure.
No, I'm not.
Standard.
I'm not a big fan of mayo though.
dogging
But, like,
anybody.
I like
I'm just
mayo.
letting you know.
A
I'm
barbecue
either
sandwich
putting.
is different than a regular
mustard or
sandwich because you're
mayo.
putting the sauce on the meat. You're not putting it on the bread.
I'm also never putting mayo on a
It's
hot
under the
sandwich.
sauce.
Well, I'm talking about like,
for sure.
Mayo's a
I use
cold
I
sandwich.
use
You said
barbecue,
barbecue.
in the way that a northerner would use barbecue, like hamburgers and hot dogs.
Cold? Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll
Not
put barbecue
like
on a
Texas
hamburger and hot
grilling
dog
out.
and stuff. Yeah, for sure. But
no, but I won't. I put mayonnaise on any of that. Absolutely not. Mayonnaise is a cold sandwich.
But I'm putting-
deli sandwich 100%.
sauce.
love
If it's a
mayonnaise.
barbecue style sandwich, the sauce goes on the meat. You don't put it on the bread; it goes on the meat.
I will
But if I'm
rephrase
making
it
like a
once
sandwich
again
at
and
the
say
house,
that I was talking about a hamburger specifically.
if I'm making a sandwich at the house, it's going on both. If I'm making a burger, the sauce is still going on the burger specifically. Depending on what type of toppings are going on it, then it might go on the bun, and that goes on one side. But it's not a It is a sandwich. It's not a deli style sandwich. So
I guess I'm the
I
minority.
think
Yeah,
the only
if it's a hot
acceptable-
meat, yeah, the condiment's going directly on the.
meat.
The only acceptable
meat.
way to put mayonnaise on like a hot sandwich to me is probably like a spicy chicken. Like I don't mind.
Yeah.
It. I don't if I remember to ask them to not put it on there, I will. But if I don't,
I'll wipe it off.
Kyle, you need to come up so we can have Dave's, bro. Or not Dave's, but Smack
Whatever
Bird.
that
These,
chicken
bro?
place is.
Smackbird's so
Smackbird.
good.
I do
Oh
need
my
to come
god,
up.
that shit slaps.
But I typically use like I'm definitely more of a barbecue sauce person. Like that's probably my favorite condiment. I use it.
Honey
like, most
mustard?
people would use ketchup.
Ketchup for me. It depends on the honey mustard from certain places.
Depends on the food.
Chick-fil-A has got a pretty good honey mustard.
Honey
I
mustard,
think.
like on a deli meat
One of
sandwich,
my-
is really good.
I like a honey
I don't
mustard with
know
a
if
bite.
it's-
I don't like the sweeter honey mustard. Like Whataburger has a sweet
bit of
honey
tang.
mustard. Chick-fil-A's got that bite. Like I like that. Not necessarily a tang, but like the bite from like the it's not a spicy mustard, but it's like a stone ground mustard or something that they put in it.
Dijon.
Yeah, Dijon. Like it's got that bite. Like that.
Dijon is what I use on my cold cuts.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's weird, but if I am eating just plain white rice, I'll definitely put barbecue sauce on it.
No, it's not too weird. I'd fuck with
I
that.
don't plain rice, but I'll
done that
take
since a
cubed
child.
chicken, white rice, and then barbecue.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I'm just eating rice, I'm just eating rice. That's.
Bro, I had grilled
I
chicken.
mean, not all the time.
I
for
had grilled
sure.
chicken for lunch, and it was just like it was leftovers from yesterday's dinner, and it was like a scoop of guacamole, and then like a plate
I don't
of.
fuck with avocados.
I love guacamole, but it was like a plate of
What? Guacamole.
cut up. Facts. There's a plate of cut up grilled chicken, and so I put like this hot sauce, like a garlic hot sauce, on the plate, and we have like a family sized bottle of Hidden Valley, and I was like, oh, I could do it for some ranch. And I was like, I'm gonna put it on the chicken, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna put it on the chicken. I'm just gonna put it on the side. And I didn't notice, and I hate when this fucking happens, bro. The fucking circular thing, the little squeeze cap, got caught in the lid, so I ended up squeezing off like 5 tablespoons of ranch onto my plate. Thankful, #thankful, I did not put it on my chicken, but it was so much that was just on my plate, and I was like, oh my god.
He ate every
No,
drop.
absolutely not.
Bring it like a bowl of cereal with the milk at the end.
Dude, speaking of cereal, there's a place, I think it's in New Braunfels. I've seen them on like TikTok where they like I watched how they make like cereal ice cream. Not as like complicated. I mean, I guess I didn't think it was super complicated, but it's like literally they just put like cereal and milk like in a strainer and just fucking
I just watched the video of them, I guess,
together and
doing
strain it together.
Captain Crunch.
Out
Yeah,
of
shit.
the
Yeah.
Little Debbie ice creams, which ones are you guys most excited for?
I watched the review.
No, bro?
Nutty bar and the zebra.
Yeah,
bars.
I heard Nutty Bar is the best.
I don't know any of them. I haven't even
Honey
seen
bun,
them.
Nutty
strawberry
Bar,
shortcake.
honey bun, strawberry shortcake, cosmic brownie, oatmeal cream pie. There's like 2
I actually
more.
I don't fuck with a lot of variety on my dessert. Like I've had my staples.
Did you grow
for
up
like
a child?
30.
Did you pop out as an adult? You didn't have those snacks going up, Kyle?
No, I'm saying as an adult now, like I know which ice cream I like. I'm not
yeah,
gonna be like, oh, let's try some new
Why
ice
not?
cream this
This
week.
is
Nah.
definitely like
I'm gonna-
it's
I
a
don't know,
more
I-
nostalgia purpose ice cream, 100% in my opinion.
First of all, I fucking
I'm-
hate honey buns.
What?
Hate 'em, but I don't.
You're
like
out of your
hate
mind. You ever had a honey bun hamburger?
I've never had that, but that sounds fucking
It's
fantastic.
good as fuck, bro.
Oh.
It's good as fuck.
So good.
Just like a glazed donut hamburger is good as fuck
Yeah.
too.
2 donuts.
No.
I'll never be skinny again in my life.
Ever.
I love donuts. so
I
much.
told Emily the other day, literally like 2 days ago, I was like, I've already committed to just being fat. As I had pizza and crab rangoons for lunch.
Interesting combo. I love both of those foods. I don't know how I feel.
I
about them
actually-
together.
It's a super disappointing lunch, honestly.
This is a thing I do. I've
Sounds
coined this
depressing.
phrase. I've never heard it anywhere else. Right? I eat this often. Right? I eat pizza and Chinese food together in a meal. Not like Chinese food on the pizza, but I'll eat a slice of pizza and then I'll eat like an egg roll and some more chicken. I call it Chinitza.
Chinese. You should try. You should try putting it on the pizza. I bet it would slap. Depending on if you
I like them
pepperoni
separate.
pizza,
Like
pepperoni
I used
pizza
to
with some
al-
orange chicken.
throwback to Arlington. I always used to pick up
Nizza
Nizza
pizza?
pizza
Oh my
and
God.
Rice Walk.
Oh,
I would
they were
say
both of them are
right there.
chicken
bangers, bro.
teriyaki with pepperoni chicken would be fucking fire as shit. Or
Yeah.
teriyaki chicken.
But yeah, that's the thing.
Pepperoni
We
pizza.
used to get Panda a lot too with Panda and Nizza.
Bro,
But
I
and
miss-
I'd be like, "You want Chinitza?" And we'd have to like go to all over fucking Arlington.
There's another
But we'd
Chinese
get it
food
and we'd go
spot that
home.
was it's right there off of Cooper, and it's literally right there next to. It's not next to Nita. It's like across the street and up maybe a couple of blocks. That's pretty fire.
Don Juan's. They drive.
No, it's not
drive-through
Don Juan.
place?
That's across the
Bethany's?
street. No, Bethany's was Thai. It's like China something, but it's across the street and just up a couple. No, it's Panda House, I think.
You fuck with crab rangoons heavy?
No, I used to, and I'm blaming it on COVID. So as we all know, I recently had COVID, so my taste is like changed quite a bit, and
sure we
and it
all
wasn't like I didn't lose like my taste or sense of smell, but it is really
changed.
like just fucked me in a certain way. Like I had like the first day I was really able to taste food a lot was when I had the pizza that I had this past weekend. And it was so good. I loved it. And then we went back this past weekend and I had it and I was like, this is fucking atrocious. I got these 2
I had
slices
pizza for lunch.
for
tomorrow.
nothing.
I
It
can't
was
be talking
terrible.
about this.
But
Pizza has been my favorite food for the longest time, but lately it's just like every time I've ordered pizza, it's just been like.
we had this place called Kenny's and it was cold when we got it because the DoorDash driver went up away from our home like 4 miles and like came down. It was barely warm, but that was gas. I was just like surprised. So I need to go there and eat it hot, but it was very good. Kenny's Pizza. There's like a chain of restaurants.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
eat pizza, but like obviously hands down my favorite type of pizza is Brooklyn style pizza. And growing up, I grew up in like what is it? East Arlington on the Grand Prairie line. And there's a place over there called Brooklyn's Best Pizza that's literally
Brooklyn's Best is
it's a
good.
mirror of Nizza. And then I moved to Arlington and then it was Nizza, but now I live over here in Burleson and I do not know if there is a spot that does Brooklyn style pizza, that real big ass slice, thin,
Domino's does it.
greasy as fuck.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I
how
don't
Kenny's
know
is.
what
It
it
is
is.
Brooklyn
I love
style.
New York style pizza. It's the premium pizza in my
It
opinion.
is yeah.
I've never.
Yeah.
Always wanted to try like people like Chicago deep dish.
It's not as good as you would
I
hope.
thought you've
It's
had
good.
it actual-
It's under the
You went to
under
Chicago
the cheese.
with
Yeah, it's not
ginger.
my favorite.
it's under the sauce.
Yeah, I know. So when I went to Chicago there, all right. So I went twice. I had pizza once. The first time, dead ass ordered Domino's.
No,
But it
shut
was
up.
Now
just-
you ordered Domino's
Fucking
in
It's
shit.
just like-
Chicago.
Bro.
It was like right at like Uber's like infancy stage, I think, and like
shut
she had to. The person I was visiting
First
had
of
to
all,
be
why
back
did you
on
have to get
their-
Uber?
Because the person that I was visiting didn't have their car yet, and they already had to be back on base. So I was just in my hotel room.
Oh,
alone
you're
for the
saying you
rest of the
couldn't
night.
Uber?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I
And
thought
so
you
I
were
was just
saying
like,
because
Well-
Uber was small, you could only Uber to Domino's.
no, it was
No,
just
he Uber
that.
Eats.
And so I
Uber
ended
was
up
still
getting
big as
Domino's.
fuck in their Uber Eats phase.
And then the second time we went to and I would go there again in a fucking heartbeat. I love this place. It's called like the Pepper Grinder Pizza Company or some shit like that.
Good name.
They make pizza pot pie, which is exactly what it fucking sounds like. They take pizza ingredients, put it in a fucking bowl, put a bunch of
Put
cheese,
crust over the
come
bowl.
out.
Tell me when to stop.
Yeah, and it's
That sounds good.
and it was delicious. Like it was featured on like Food Network or something.
Yeah, see, but nothing is stopping me
but
from
it was
having
so
like the
good.
local style pizza. Like we went to New York and I probably had 5 slices of pizza, and then we also had this place called the Meatball Shop, and we went there twice in the couple of days we were there. And then
100%. We were in New York for 2 days, and one of the things that I was like, look, I don't care how long it takes, but we're not gonna look it up. We're gonna walk around the street
two bros?
until we see a pizza joint. I don't remember what it was. We were fucked up. We went to a jazz bar.
probably two
We like
bros.
left it like 2:50
We are talking about the
because
Reynolds.
facts. Was it like a standalone store or was it like a stand?
no, it was in a building.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't standalone.
Like,
Obviously,
see,
it
I
was
was-
like in a wall. It's New
I
York
was in New
style, right?
York.
Like it's
Two
like
Bros
8
is
other
like New
shit.
York's most popular shit pizza, but it's decent.
It's a stand.
No, it's a store.
I still feel like shit New York pizza is still better than like
We got
Texas pizza.
Mediterranean food from a stand that was fucking fine.
Yeah, that's how my mom
One of
was
the
telling me
things that
about
we-
that. When I went, she was like, she was FaceTiming me when she was in New York, and she was like, she bought food from every stand she saw just to try it. And when I went, like, I tried to do that, but like the stands were kind of few and far between, and it was cold as fuck too. So like, I was not trying to be outside. It was like the 2
Yeah,
days
we
after
went
Christmas.
in August.
We were there for like 3 days, and fuck
I think I would
that.
rather go during the winter because I know their
I
trash
wasn't as prepared.
situation's so gross. I would not want to
Yeah.
be in August.
I wasn't nearly
In New
prepared
York with that
enough.
smell.
We were in Maryland, and like we had kind of like, it was an afterthought, realistically. Of like when we got to Maryland, like, oh, we should go to New York. We'll take the train, and we thought about it. Like train tickets were like $90, and like the bus was like $20. So we took a bus, and it was like a 5-hour bus ride. But it was like super last minute, and I didn't have any like long johns or anything, and that wind just cuts through fucking denim. So I ended up having to go like. We went to Ross and I bought leggings that I still have. Haven't worn them since, but I still do have them. And I had to wear the wet leggings under my pants because it was so cold. But I mean, it was a good time.
I think if I go to, I've never been to New York. I would love to go, but if I go and I get pizza, I think I'm definitely looking up the best place to get pizza.
I mean,
I would
a lot
just
of
go
pizza
to
is
that
just pretty
pizza
fucking
app.
good in New York.
From Barstool.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I wish he would
that's what
come
I
down.
would do.
I really want Dave Portnoy. Like, we don't have a ton of like premium, pizza spots in Dallas, I guess, but
No.
I would love for him to come down here because he goes
And
to
just
major
let me
cities all
know.
the time. Yeah, 100%. Like he was down in Florida and like fucking North Carolina or some shit. Like, bring your ass down, Dave Portnoy. Come to Dallas.
We know you're watching.
when we were in New York, we went out to Brooklyn and we went to this old abandoned warehouse that got turned into a restaurant for seafood.
That's dope.
And I don't know if y'all remember this picture because it was like 4 years ago, but we ordered this giant ass seafood plate that was like $200, right? And they brought it out, and I'll show you the picture. Like, I'll try to send it so we can actually put it up there. But there was like a pot, and it was full of seafood, right? And then we start eating it, and we get through it a little bit, and like we're pulling some of the crab legs and shrimp off, and there's a full lobster, like an entire lobster on the underlayer of this fucking bowl.
That's wild.
Like, I have the picture like before we started eating, and then once we discovered the lobster, I have the next picture. You literally can't see the lobster. There's so much seafood on top of the lobster. We were like,
imagine
"Oh
Kyle, like-
fuck!" It was like the fucking toy at the bottom of a Cracker Jack.
That's a nice
I can
surprise.
imagine Kyle like flipping his chair and standing up and moving. Here's the fucking lobster!
I
I
wanna
fucking-
pull up the picture. 'Cause
I
you
love
literally can't
lobster,
see it.
but
I need to go. I want to go back to
usually,
New York so bad because of the Harry
We
Potter
were only
shop.
there for 2 days. I want like a full week.
No, that's like if I can. Oddly enough, like the two places that I would like to live would be like either New York, just because I think it would be cool to
It's not as
live
cool as you think it would be.
where I don't need a car. Yeah, I mean the only thing preventing me is just the cost of literally everything. Or I would love to live like in Colorado in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah.
Two polar opposites.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, living in New York is not nearly as glamorous as a lot of people make it seem. The people that make it seem super glamorous are the people that have the money to make it be glamorous for them. But like
I've seen enough TikToks of people being like, "Here's my
Emily's sister,
$2,200 500 square foot."
Emily's
apartment.
sister lived in like that fucking apartment was every bit of 200 square feet, maybe. It was like the size of this room I'm in, and then maybe another 40 or 50 square feet for like a bathroom, and that was like $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Like that, I mean, it was in Manhattan in a high rise. It was super nice. The view was killer. I got some crazy pictures just from her window. Like it was super nice, but fucking A. And then like, my buddy Dennis lives in New York, and his whole family lived there, and they all lived in one apartment. But it was a good sized apartment, and that was in the Bronx. But that was still like more than I pay in a mortgage for the apartment that they were living in.
I think the thing that draws me there the most is it just seems like a hub for so much. Like here in Texas, we don't get a lot of like cool bands, like comedians and shit like that. Where like in New York, that's like the epicenter of all that. And if we do, it's like very few and far.
Move to Vegas.
Wait a while. Like, yeah, I guess.
You live close enough to the ship or wherever you're going to work
at all.
Oh yeah, the heat's. It's not. I mean, the heat's not nearly as bad as it is here, right? Like, you know, we have the 105-degree days, but it's 95% humidity outside, so it feels like it's 120. It
blows my mind that anybody willingly lives in Arizona.
Yeah,
like, that is.
But I mean, it's a dry heat. A dry heat is complete. It's a polar opposite.
It doesn't matter if it's 115 degrees.
It does. If you're in the shade, it feels like it's 85. Like it's still hot, but it's not nearly as hot. You can't escape the heat here in Texas.
Yeah. When I was, I don't know, maybe in like 6th or 7th grade, we went to the Grand Canyon, like made a road trip up there or whatever. And like, I wasn't at an age, I don't think, where I could like appreciate nature and shit like that. I was much more like, we're going on a family vacation. I'd rather not go look at a giant crack in the fucking earth. But whatever. It was cool. The hotel that we got was like literally right on the canyon. Like when the morning came around, you couldn't even see the Grand Canyon because like all the fog and shit, which still kind of blows my mind. But I remember on the way back, we were making our way through various like Arizona cities, and in Flagstaff, it was like the hottest place I've ever fucking been. And it's just like how it reminded me of the scene from King of the Hill where Bobby gets out of the car and they're in Phoenix, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's like walking on the sun."
Flagstaff is such a crazy place.
It feels like I'm walking on the
sun.
Because
it's crazy hot in the summer, but it's crazy cold in the winter. They get a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Like we also
went in the summer, so it's like we went in peak hot times. Like,
I would much rather be like cold. The worst of both.
I've actually only been to Arizona a couple of times, and the times I've been to Arizona, it's always been winter.
I think I've only ever driven through Arizona, except we went to Vegas once when I was like 15, but I don't really remember it.
We're starting to get good.
Arizona Emily graduated from ASU online, and she like debated on whether or not she wanted to walk, and I was like, no, you're fucking walking, bro. And so we flew out there for her graduation, and that was in like January because she graduated in the winter semester or whatever. And then when I went to the Grand Canyon, it was like, well, I guess it was hot, but it was summer, I guess. But when we went to the Grand Canyon, it was cold as fuck, yeah. But when we went to the Grand Canyon, it was like 6 a.m. I was like in a jacket, shivering. And that was, I think, in July, I think.
Yeah. Like, I have that type of experience, like, in Mexico. Like, I've never... Like, every time I've gone to Mexico, it's always been, like, usually kind of in the summertime. And it'll start, like, the day is hot as shit, but as soon as nighttime comes, Mexico's a fucking desert, so it's cold as shit, and there's scorpions everywhere.
Fuck that.
Yeah. I'm the only person in my family, like my immediate family, that has not lived in Mexico. Which is wild to me.
We're starting to get to the end of this. I just wanted to bring this up real quick as well. Have you guys seen Murderville on Netflix at all?
No.
We watched the first 3 episodes.
You should definitely watch it, Eric.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
Good.
I watched 6 episodes of 5 episodes of Peacekeeper today, so I think I can start and get through. Yeah, it's actually really good. I watched the title sequence. Solid. I watched it one time. It was worth the watch. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Will I watch it again? No. But that one time was nice. It was fun.
But for those of you that don't know what Murderville is, Will Arnett is the main character, and it's about a detective that has celebrity guests in each episode, and each guest
heard of it.
doesn't have a script. It's all improv, and it's essentially about the guest trying to solve the murder.
I have heard of it.
I would recommend watching the Marshawn Lynch episode because he's funny as fuck. The Conan episode's pretty good. Camille Nanjiani.
Yeah, it's just named the
good.
first 3 episodes, so just start watching it on Netflix.
It's not the first.
Conan's the first. Marshawn Lynch is the second, and Camille's the third. Yes,
because I started skipping around.
Who's the third?
Camille Nanjiani. I got
Oh, okay. Could have swore I heard
I didn't
Kanjaji.
know. I started.
That's why I mixed his first and last name.
Fair.
That's how you do
Valid.
I started like skipping around for like more because I think the last episode that I watched was the what's that dude's name? Not Kim Jong.
Kim
Is that his
Jong-un?
name? Like,
Imagine that guy was
and
actually
his
a
episode
doctor,
was
bro.
mid. He was. He
Wow.
talks
I
about it a
know.
little
That's
bit.
crazy. I need to catch up on Attack on Titan. I need to start watching this last season.
Just gotta wait for it to get dubbed.
Just waiting on the build up, yeah.
So
I'm starting to get to like parts of my day where like I'm starting to see a spoiler and I'm just skipping past it because I don't want to see it.
Nathan started reading the manga. I don't know if you wanted me to share that, but I did. So suck
That's
it.
wild.
I mean, I'm not.
How far are you?
I'm a nerd.
That's the first
I'm
thing.
like
This week.
5 or so chapters past where the show is.
6 episodes.
Can't remember the actual numbers. But real quick, back to the Peacemaker. I guess we'll end on this just because I'm curious. Who is y'all's favorite character?
Vigilante. Vigilante's like weird.
I'm only 3
and
episodes
cool,
in.
but he's also like has a good. I just like him as a character.
So I haven't seen an action sequence with Vigilante yet. Like the last thing I saw was when Vigilante was in his house and he was kind of like catching. Vigilante was like tidying while they were talking, right? So I haven't seen any action with him yet.
I would also agree. I think he's John Cena's definitely a close second, but Vigilante's.
I'm gonna say John Cena. I like the character development of him so
I haven't
far.
gotten that far yet.
I still am just every episode that happens. I'm just surprised that I'm still liking what's going on. Not surprised, but it's like a good surprise.
I was surprised that the show is as good as it is.
Yeah, because I didn't think it was
that.
going to be that good.
After the first episode, I was like, throw it away. And that's why I haven't watched it, but you guys have been talking about it for 4 weeks. So,
Well, the new Suicide Squad was so mid.
yeah.
Bro.
I didn't think
but
so.
no,
I
this-
enjoyed
I still liked it.
a lot.
I liked it more.
I
than the
liked it a
second
lot,
part.
but
I
it wasn't as good as it could have been in my
But how many
opinion.
times have you seen it?
Twice.
Yeah.
I will say Peacemaker is probably the best thing, in my opinion, that DC has put out since like the Nolan trilogy. Like everything
like
else since
Shazam.
then has been pretty mad.
Shazam was dope.
Yeah,
That was
okay,
good.
yeah.
Never
I
even seen
liked
Shazam.
They're missing out.
It's
It's a good movie.
It's a good family movie for sure. Like Shazam's one of my favorite DC characters overall, so I was real into it. But
I think outside of the Batman
not
movie
stoked
coming
about
out,
Black Adam.
I'm the most hyped for Flash.
I don't know. Flash is one of my favorite DC
I'm just-
heroes.
I know.
Like
Same.
I really like that story that they're gonna do, but I'm just so over that era of DC where it's just like they're beating a dead horse. It's like all of the movies leading up to Flashpoint Paradox were mid as fuck. So like I don't really need you to like revisit.
Is it going to be
I'm
the
assuming
Flashpoint
they're
Paradox
kinda-
movie?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're going to
I haven't seen
reboot.
anything
Like,
on
I'm
it.
assuming they're gonna go in the way that kind of like X-Men Days of Future Past did, where
They're
they
gonna
go
reset
back
everything.
and retcon and change shit.
But that's literally what
Because I've-
Flashpoint did in the comics.
No, I know. I'm not saying like that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't give a fuck about that universe anymore.
Right.
So having
Good
to go
news.
back and
They're
see that-
retconning it because it's Flashpoint Paradox.
But so far, the things that I've seen that they're retconning is they're taking Superman out and replacing him with Supergirl, and they're changing another character where it's like they're consistently making downgrades to that franchise, in my opinion. So it's just like I don't need to real time watch you fuck this up.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they're coming out with a Gotham Knights show on CW, which I'm really excited for. But maybe we talk about that next week because I think we should stop here.
I do kind of want to
Sounds good.
start Pennyworth just because I saw that.
Well, let
it's
me
on
know how it
HBO.
is.
No.
All right, guys. Well, that's been the 11th episode of SpaceBar Podcast here live.
Yeehaw!
Or not live. We recorded it live in Carrollton, Fort Worth. area. Thanks for
The
tuning
broad
in.
area.
Once again, make sure if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, like the video, hit that bell, subscribe. Smash. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure to follow the podcast if you're not already and rate us 5 stars.
If you enjoyed the
No, even if
We're
you
not
didn't
forcing
enjoy
you.
it,
Even if you didn't
piece of
enjoy
shit,
it,
you
rate us-
fucking give us 5 stars, please.
don't you edge us.
I have nothing else. Please.
I had Spider-Man and
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that next week.
all right, guys, y'all have a good night or day or whenever you listen to this. Bye.
Adios.
Bye.